Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today I'm talking about my pros and cons of the brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max and my experience of using it over the last couple of weeks and what I really like about it and what I don't like about it. Let's get into it. Right, so one of the main reasons I got this device was because of the fact that the cameras and the video on iPhone generally are very good. On this device, they are excellent. And here's the advance. Not only is the camera recording ability, the photo recording ability really, really good, the Photos app is probably one of my favorite apps of all of the apps on iPhone. And they have historically done really, really well and continue to do brilliantly well with the app in terms of curating montages, memories, putting videos together, and then of course being able to edit and adjust videos and photos on the device is just brilliant. And I've been so impressed. It's so simple to use. There are things missing, of course. It's not a full editing suite. It's not like something like Photoshop, etc. But for 90% of the things that you want to do with your photos, if not 100%, if you're not super techie, this is going to work absolutely brilliantly. So the app and the camera functions on this really are the most redeeming, some of the most redeeming features of this device. So it absolutely has been brilliant in terms of photography, both wide angle lens, zoom, and for video. It's very straightforward in terms of having HD or 4K video. You've got a choice between 30 or 60 FPS, which might mean nothing to most of you, but it's going to be very crispy, very clean. And the microphones on this built in are extremely good as well. If you saw my previous video, I can put, you will have seen some examples. I can always make a camera comparison video as well if you're interested. So make sure you comment below. But this is a massive feature of this device, and if that's important to you, that makes this good value for money. Now, in terms of phone functionality, let's not forget, this is a phone. The speaker is a tiny little slit at the very top of the screen here, and of course the microphones are built in underneath. And when I use the phone in this capacity, it is very, very clear. It has voice isolation that is absolutely brilliant. So for its primary function as a phone, it's fantastic. Don't need to say any more than that. It just works. And that's very important. In the hand feel, talking about the design of this device, they have improved, not a huge amount in terms of changes, but they have improved the in the hand feel, as they say. When you hold this device, instead of it having sharp edges, it's now got chamfered rounded edges on this beautiful titanium design. It is actually much more comfortable to hold in your hand because there aren't any sharp edges on this. Now, I have had it in a case, which is obviously rounding the edges even more. But if you don't want to keep it in a case, or if you just want to get it naked every now and then, to hold this, it's got the very nice industrial flat edges, but they are rounded in your hand so that it doesn't actually cut into the palm of your hand, which is, for me, a massive redeeming feature. And I've been very happy getting this device out of its case regularly just to look and hold at it. Speakers. This device has got surprisingly good speakers. When some music is played through the device, sometimes we're watching a YouTube video and there's background music, I'm amazed to feel bass. There's bass in this device. And I mean, you know, usually bass needs space. So in order to get bass, you have to have space inside of some sort of cavity to create those low frequencies. This somehow manages to generate that, and there are some songs that come across this better than you would expect from any phone. So the speakers on this, I love every time. Forward facing and very, very good. Lightweight, they were talking an awful lot about the new titanium build, which of course reduces the weight of the device itself. We know that there's about 15% titanium, which is not a huge amount, but it's good enough that it is lighter than the 14 and previous versions. And that makes all the difference. I don't want to feel something that's pulling my trousers down when it's super duper heavy, and this doesn't impede in that way. You definitely know it's there. It's a big device because it's the Max. It's the heaviest device because it's the Max, but any lighter improvements is always going to make me feel happier because I really, really like lighter, good, high quality, powerful phones. The nightstand function on this is really good. If you watch my previous video, I actually highlighted that as being a serious strength and queried why other Android companies haven't developed apps that are specifically really good at the nightstand feature. There are some nightstand apps for Android, but the way that Apple have implemented this automatically when you have it on any sort of MagSafe charging dock, it just looks really classy. It's very good, very well done, and very useful. Of course, this does have USB Type-C, so compatibility is going to be great. Finally, the EU, thank you to the EU for forcing Apple to implement the standard method of charging and data transfer via the USB Type-C. It means we don't have to carry around or have a separate useless cable. So that's really good. And of course, in finale, for the pros of this amazing device is the screen, the ProRes screen, which allows the screen quality to go all the way from 1 Hertz to 120. It just makes it absolutely seamless. Now, for the majority of people, you're not really going to care. Where you're going to see that is if you're a gamer, or when you're looking at certain websites, or when you're looking at certain information on here. Apps in particular can capitalize on that. It just makes everything very smooth. That's all you need to know, and it does make it very nice to see. Okay, let's get into the dislikes of this device. Now, the most important one I feel is privacy. One of the biggest issues we have with Android and Apple devices is privacy. Sharing information with companies, with the government, and so on and so forth. Privacy, I still think, is a very important topic, and Apple have recently been caught unfortunately having to share vital information, in particular notifications, with the government if they request it. And that is because, of course, they are under the rule of the government and there are legal requirements. So Apple, unfortunately, have had to bend the knee somewhat towards allowing government to access notifications which comes along with your location, obviously the content of those notifications, as well as other relevant information that they can now have full access to. So it is a bit unfortunate. Whether that rule applies to European countries as well is still yet to be assessed, although it is part of an agreement between 3 major nations, including the United Kingdom, Australia, the US as well, and France. And so those countries are all allowed to share and access security information. Obviously, if that's something that doesn't bother you, then it doesn't matter. But in another capacity, this is more of a pro. When you install an app, the phone will ask you if you would like the app to track you or not. And I like that. In every single install, it will ask when you open up that app, will you allow this app to track you or not? And you can obviously disallow that, which is a strong feature. Android doesn't do that half as much as it should. One of the things that annoys me about Apple and Android and iOS is the home screen. This is still a frustration. I can't play with my home screen as much as I want to. I want to be able to put apps wherever I want. Bundling files together is okay, but it's not great. The animations are still a little bit slow for me. If I could speed that up like I can with Android, I would love that. I don't know why they don't allow for any more versatility. I would also like to make my icons smaller. I can't do any of that. They've implemented widgets, which they reinvented, which are okay. I find myself using very few of them. They're not very interactive, so they're nowhere as good as Android, but they're okay, and it gives for a little bit more versatility on your home screen. But the home screen, seriously, it needs an overhaul. Now, the downside, of course, they have got USB Type-C, which by all means, and it's 3.0 as well, which means it's a new version, it has the capacity for fast charging, but the phone itself does not. So this device will charge up to 25 watts on a cable, which is okay. It doesn't come in the box, and the cable that you get in the box will never allow that speed because it's a low speed cable. So you have to go and buy it. It's a classic Apple tactic to make you buy more accessories. So that is a bit naughty and a bit frustrating, and you can only charge so fast. By comparison to other Android devices, even my Galaxy Note 10 will allow faster charging or super fast charging, which is brilliant, which means I can get a full charge in about 50 minutes. Some of the new devices take about 35 minutes, which is just nuts, but super duper convenient and means no longer charging overnight or anything like that. So that is something that they definitely should address. and is massively behind the rest of the world. Now, of course, the size of this device is both a pro and a con. So obviously where this is a con, it is still a weighty device. It is relatively thick. You definitely feel it in your trousers or shorts. If you're a woman, obviously, putting it into your handbag, it takes up most of that space. So depending on your needs and whether you're going to consume a lot of media, play games, or you need to see your photos as large as possible, then the larger screen might not be absolutely necessary, and the Pro version may be perfectly adequate at 6.1 inches. And that is a perfectly good device, just like the Max version as well, but slightly smaller and more comfortable in the hand. The final con, of course, is going to be the price. This is a €1,500 device. It comes with 256 gigabytes of memory, which is finally pretty decent. Not amazing, but pretty decent. And that is an awful lot of money. You get a lot of phone for it, but it's an awful lot of money. It does not have any secondary software system like Android with Dex, or with even now Xiaomi are running an operating system as well. So you're not getting anything in addition, but you are getting a very, very good, well-built, solid, very well-refined device. Is it worth that amount of money? That's up to you. I would suggest if you've got anything from an iPhone 12 Pro or young or newer, you don't urgently need to upgrade to this device. But if you want the latest, all bells and whistles, amazing camera for video and photography, then this is definitely worth considering for sure. If you're inside the ecosystem, which I'm desperately trying not to be, then of course it helps obviously also to have an Apple device, but you don't have to rush out to get the latest one. I would always highly recommend that you consider a refurbished or second-hand device for the sake of the environment, and you can of course get a better price as well. Right, so I definitely love this device. I have fallen back in love with the iPhone 12. No, sorry, I have fallen back in love with the iPhone itself. I really enjoy using it. The features on here, the gaming is really, really fun. I'm not a massive gamer, but it has huge amount of potential. The power of these things is really, really good. And if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please put a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're rushing our way towards the 1,000 mark, and I'm really keen to do that. And I really hope, as we come towards the end of December, that you have an amazing Christmas. All the best, the season's greetings. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye-bye for now.